All right, hello, my name is Rebecca Regan, and my self summary statement is a 17-year-old who's easygoing, tends to overthink things, and values genuine kindness over any other attribute. All right, getting into this presentation, the rubric asked me who am I and the top three things that I value and encircle my life choices around. The top three things that I came up with kind of hit different spots in each of my life. So, number one, my faith. I'm going to make all my decisions, or I want to make all my decisions based around my Christianity. And the second one is the people that I love. Even though I also want to encircle my life around their advice for my life, I also just love spending my life with them, and that's one of the top things that I value. Number three would be something I value in a life perspective, which is keeping an open mind. I try to do this as often as I can, because remembering that everyone comes from a different background and they were raised differently helps us all take in different perspectives, and it's good to hear everyone else's perspective. So, some of my activities and interests. I'm one of those people that isn't super good at one thing. I'm just mediocre at most things. So, so activities and interests. I love hiking, and that's great because we live in Washington. I ran cross country in high school, and I just like to go on runs sometimes, so that's a good one. And sports. I played tennis one year. I did volleyball for quite a few years, and I always love watching baseball. So altogether, I'm not athletic, but I enjoy it. So yeah. Being with people is one that I love to do, and photography is one that I've recently kind of gotten interested in, and most people from our generation are pretty interested in photography, so it's really fun, and it's a good way to have an excuse to go places. The next one is reading good books. I love to read good books, but it's hard to find, so the next one is a coffee and barista job. I love to drink coffee, but I also work as a barista, and that's new for me. I've been doing it for like 6 months, but it's really fun. The next one is dogs and babies. I couldn't think of a ton at first, so I was like, I love animals and babies are really cute, so that's a common one. The next one is music I listen to. I always think Justin Bieber comes out with consistently good music, so I put him down. He's one of my favorites. And then also R&B and 40s jazz. I listen to that a lot. The next one is TV shows I watch, which is The Office, Parks and Rec, Portlandia, and then for movies, my favorite genres are rom-coms and dramas. And I love to travel, even though I haven't done it a bunch. And camping is something I grew up with more, and I just love to camp too. So those are my activities and interests. Dependable strengths. I took these from advice from the assignment, but also what I feel like knowing myself I'm good at. And number one, I thought, is I'm pretty inclusive towards others. I'm always very conscious of how people are feeling in group settings and making sure everyone feels included. Number two is multitasking at my work and in school. I think I'm good at just kind of doing slowly multiple things at once. And then number three is I'm very patient. I would say not always, obviously, but I think more than a good amount of people in my life, just comparing. I'm pretty easygoing with that kind of stuff. And number four, good listener. I'm usually the person in the friend group that is kind of giving out advice, and I thought about being a counselor for a little bit. I like to listen to people. And number five is being self-aware. I just think this is important for me to be able to be aware of myself so I can kind of accept criticism and grow. So yeah. Next slide. Learning styles. First off, I'm a hands-on learner. Sensory experiences are hard to forget, so I'm usually going to learn it way faster if I'm doing it, because it's just easier for me to remember. But that's not always an option with with learning, so if not, I'm a visual learner. I just find watching someone do something works better, or works second best for me, and repetition is also really important for me. The biggest place where I learned my learning style was actually not school. I felt like school was very consistent, the same learning style, so I actually learned that when I was learning how to make coffee and be a barista. There was so much to learn, and I learned that hearing people talk and watching them do it was not as effective as me just doing it multiple times. So my personality type. I've taken this test a couple of times, and every time I get ENFP, so I'm pretty sure that's accurate, and it's the personality type that I got. I do feel like this describes me well. To summarize ENFP, they're energetic, don't like routines, spontaneous, clumsy, outgoing, understanding, and forgetful. I'm all of these. I'm very forgetful. I'm outgoing. I don't like routines. I would say I'm pretty spontaneous. I am skeptical of Myers-Briggs test though, because I always feel like personality test kind of puts people in a specific placement and then they might live by that placement if they don't, if they feel like they should. But they were very correct. The career options that they suggested for me were ones that I've always been interested in, so that was kind of cool. And it stands for extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceiving. All right, what's next for me? My career goal is to be a high school teacher. I can't decide if I want to do history or English teaching yet, though. And then openings, there's a lot of teaching positions needing to be filled, which is great. I didn't know that until this assignment. So there's salary in Washington for first years is $40,000, and if you continue to teach, it'd be $60,000. And the education that they want you to get is master's in secondary education. So long-term goals. Number 1, I want to pay off student debt for college. Number 2, I really have always wanted to travel through Europe. And number 3, I want to become a high school teacher like I mentioned. My midterm goals would be working summers in between college to pay off my student debt, interning at a high school to see what teaching is like so I can be more confident in knowing whether or not I really want to do that, and finding someone as committed as I am to traveling through Europe and to go with them, because I don't know anyone that really wants to do that and it's like a goal for them. So I need to find someone that wants to do it as bad as I do. Short-term goals. Save as many paychecks as possible. Commit to a college and read and watch videos on the best ways to travel and opening a savings account for traveling. So obviously I'm going to save as many paychecks as possible for traveling and for college. Committing to a college is where I'm at right now, and it's a hard decision, and just saving more traveling. Okay, my educational plan. I'm going to graduate with my AA and high school diploma, which is why I'm in this class, and then also I need to take no more classes to get my high school diploma, but I do need to take statistics, a natural science, and 2 electives to graduate with my AA. And once I've graduated with that, I need to choose a college and take into consideration the classes for becoming either an English or a history teacher. And I think those classes will help me decide which one I'll become. I need to graduate with a master's degree in order to get paid well for a teacher. So as I mentioned earlier, I said you need a master's degree. You actually need a bachelor's degree, but in order to get paid really well, they want you to have a master's degree. So I'm just going to do that. So, all right, classes I've taken in the past 2 years. These are the classes I've taken at OC and for high school and for college. They were good classes. College and financial options. So the college options, Westmont College in Santa Barbara, California, and Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. Obviously, you're like way more expensive at Santa Barbara, but it's has a good film program, which I want to minor in just for fun. Also, it's in Santa Barbara, California, and it's a Christian college, so I've always wanted to live in California because it's the sunniest place next to, or the closest place that's sunny next to home. So also, I'm kind of torn with that because even though it's more expensive, I also got a scholarship and it's sunny there, so I don't know, that might be worth it for me. All right, reality check. I don't know how accurate this one was, but I don't think I'm going to spend $570 on clothes per month. Maybe if at the end of the year that might add up, but yeah, so this was definitely a fun project and it was interesting to take the little quiz, and wish me luck. And the quote I chose is, "I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you left them," and that's from Andy from The Office. I just chose that quote because I thought we're so focusing right now in this time of our lives so hard on what we're going to do next that I think we forget that this is our last year living with our parents for most of us. It's our last year as a senior in high school and in high school, so I'm also trying to figure out what I want to do next year, but also enjoy being here right now because it's probably a good place looking back. And that's all. Thanks so much for listening.